everybody. Today we are going to go over the affidavit for probable cause for the death of the children and Chad Daybell. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read it, but I'm also going to go ahead. I've got other pieces of evidence here from different people that are also in the case, which some of it's pretty shocking and kind of brings to light Melanie Pawlowski's involvement as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the affidavit in section 4. Since November 26, 2019, the Rexburg Police Department has been involved in a search for J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan. The minor children's mother, Lori Vallow, has been charged with 2 felony counts of desertion of a minor child, 1 misdemeanor count of resisting and obstructing, 1 misdemeanor count of solicitation to commit a crime, and 1 misdemeanor count of contempt. The contempt charge is failing to comply with the order in the child protection action in Madison County, Idaho, to produce JJ and Tylee to the Rexburg Police Department of Health and Welfare. She was required to produce the children by January 30th, 2020. Tylee was 17 at the time when she went missing, and JJ was 7 when he went missing. Number 5, Chad Daybell was present in Kauai, Hawaii on February 20th when Lori Vallow was arrested on felony desertion charges. I was present at the arrest. Daybell was also present at the May 6th initial appearance in Madison County, Idaho. As such, I know that Chad Daybell was aware of felony charges directly related to the location, health, and well-being of the minor children mentioned above. Since November 26, 2019, the Rexburg Police Department, along with the FBI, have been investigating the location and whereabouts of these 2 minor children. The last verifiable sighting of Tylee Ryan was on September 8, 2019 in Yellowstone National Park, and the last verifiable sighting of J.J. Vallow was September 22, 2019 in his mother's apartment, located at 565 Pioneer Road. He was last seen by Lori's friend Melanie Gibb while the Rexburg Police and FBI have received many tips, alleged sightings since the beginning of the case. None of these tips have led any verifiable and accountable information regarding the health, safety, and location of the minor children. Lori Vallow moved to Rexburg on or about September 1st, 2019. When her children, Tylee Ryan and J.J. Vallow, and her brother, Alex Cox, Lori resided with her children at 565 Pioneer Road in Rexburg, Idaho. Alex Cox resided in the same complex, initially living in the same unit as Lori and then moving into his own unit, number 107 in Rexburg, Idaho. Lori Vallow's close friend, Melanie Gibb, has cooperated with Idaho and Arizona law enforcement regarding the investigation of the children. Melanie Gibb has reported that from September 19, 2019 through the morning of September 23, 2019, she visited Lori Vallow and her new residence in Rexburg. Gibb reports that when she arrived in Rexburg, Lori informed her that J.J. Vallow had become a zombie. Gibb further reports that the term zombie refers to an individual whose mortal spirit has left their body, and that their body is now a host to another spirit. The new spirit is a zombie is always considered a dark spirit. While the dark spirit inhabits the host body, the person's true spirit goes into limbo and is stuck until the body's host is physically killed. As such, death of the physical body is seen as the mechanism by which the body's original spirit can be released from limbo. This belief was told to Gibb by Lori Vallow. Lori Vallow had learned it from Chad Daybell and immediately told Gibb. Gibb was present with Lori Vallow when Chad Daybell first taught Lori this information over the phone in early 2019 in reference to Charles Vallow. Melanie Gibb has further informed me that Lori Vallow called Tylee a zombie in the spring of 2019. Gibb was on the phone with Lori and heard Lori call Tylee a zombie, to which Tylee responded, "Not me, Mom." This arose out of Lori requiring Tylee to babysit JJ, Tylee did not want to. Lori Vallow also told Gibb that Tylee had turned into a zombie. When she was 12 or 13, which was approximately the same time Tylee became difficult to deal with. Melanie Gibb has further informed me that she was told by Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow that they had religious beliefs that would be a part of the Church of the Firstborn, and their mission in the church was going to lead the 144,000 mentioned in the book of Revelation. They also stated that their mission was to rid the world of zombies. On January 26, 2020, a search warrant was issued on Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow in the Kauai where they were living and on their own vehicle. The children were not found with Chad and Lori in Hawaii, and there was no evidence to suggest that they were living with Chad and Lori. Through this investigation, we have discovered that JJ Vallow was registered at Kennedy Elementary School in Rexburg the first week of September 2019. Kennedy School was informed that JJ had the individual education plan due to his autism. Kennedy Elementary was in the process of creating a new IEP for JJ. On September 23, 2019, JJ had an unexcused absence. On September 24, 2020, Lori Vallow called Becky Barton of the Madison School District and informed her that JJ was going to Louisiana to be with his grandparents and wouldn't be home until the end of October, or maybe later. On October 29th, Madison School District was informed that JJ would be homeschooled during the searches of Lori's apartment in Rexburg and subsequent searches of her apartment in Kauai. No evidence of homeschooling material was ever found. No other school district has ever requested JJ's records from the Madison School District. As mentioned, the last verifiable sighting of Tylee Ryan was in Yellowstone National Park on September 8, 2019. Photographs established that she was there with her mother, Lori Vallow, her brother, JJ Vallow, her uncle, Alex Cox. They drove there in Alex Silver Ford F-150. This trip was further established by tracking GPS cell towers connections, Google account information, and Alex Cox's phone. It seems like they took her all the way out there, so if she screamed, no one would hear her, and then brought her body back. So poor JJ probably saw something. Or, I don't know. Disgusting people, I'll just put it that way. Cellular Analysis Survey Team, hereinafter CAST, is the FBI unit that provides analysis of cell phone records and presents the information to law enforcement. CAST has also analyzed Alex Cox's phone, provided location information mentioned in the paragraph. The CAST analysis provides the location of Cox's phone due to the training evidence and common knowledge. I am aware that most individuals now keep the cell phones with them at all times, and the location of individuals' phones can be used to establish location of the owner of the phone. CAST uses cellular devices, GPS data points, cell phone towers connections, Wi-Fi connections, and Google tracking information to establish the location of a cell phone. GPS data points used by CAST are constructed by highly accurate and can place the device within a 6-meter radius. That's very accurate. CAST has further informed law enforcement that Cox's phone exited the west entrance of Yellowstone National Park at 1840. His phone appeared to be at Buckaroo's Barbecue Grill in West Yellowstone, Montana from 1845 to 1902. Cox then returns to Rexburg at approximately 2037. The phone is then at Lori's apartment, number 175, until 2135, at which time Cox appeared to go to the Maverick and Main Street in Rexburg at 2143 until 2153. Cox then went back to Lori's apartment, 2244 to 2315. At 2344, Cox is located at his residence in apartment 107. On Monday, September 9th, from 12 a.m. and 12:44, Cox's phone was located at his apartment in 107. However, at 2:42 a.m. to 3:37 a.m., Cox was located again at Lori's apartment, where Lori lived with Tylee and JJ. This is significant, not only because he is there in the middle of the night, but also because the only time in September he appears to go over to Lori's between midnight and 6 a.m. At 4:37, Alex went back to his own apartment, Unit 107, until 8:59. At 9:21, he was located at the property with the address 202 North 1900 East Rexburg, which is the residence of Chad Daybell. It should be noted that while Chad Daybell's address is listed in Rexburg, it is actually located in Fremont County, Idaho. The 921 reading is GPS data point and places him behind the home on Chad Daybell's property, near the east end of the barn. Alex Cox's phone was still in the Daybell residence at 10:39. At 10:47, his phone shows a hit at the city of St. Anthony. At this time, we're unable to tell if he was actually inside the city limits of St. Anthony, or St. Anthony is about a 5-minute drive from Daybell residence, or if this cell tower ping on his phone, he was still at the Daybell residence. At 10:57 to 11:39, Cox is located at the Daybell property. At 11:52, 12:02, he was at Del Taco in Rexburg. He appears to spend most of the rest of his day in his apartment. Through this investigation, the Rexburg Police Department and FBI have seized, searched, and analyzed multiple cellular devices pursuant on several warrants. On June 1st, 2020, I was informed by Special Agent Ricky Wright of the FBI, and the FBI was examining a phone believed to be owned by Tammy Daybell. Tammy was Chad's wife, who died October 19th, 2019. The FBI found a text conversation between Tammy and her husband Chad Daybell on September 9th, 2019, which is the day the last known sighting of Tylee Ryan in Yellowstone National Park. The conversation reads as follows: Chad Daybell to Tammy at 11:53 a.m. Well, let me do a voice first. Well, I've had an interesting morning. I felt like I should burn the limb debris in the fire pit before I get too soaked by the coming storms. While I did so, I spotted a big raccoon around the fence. I hurried, I got my gun, and while he was walking along, I got close enough, and one shot did the trick. He is now in our pet cemetery. Fun times. Chad to Tammy at 11:56. Gonna shower now and go right for a while at BYU. Love you. Tammy to Chad at 2:47. Good for you. Doesn't that not seem like a great response? Like, that seems like a frustrated or annoyed wife. Chad to Tammy back at 2:48 p.m. I'm back home now. Yeah, to me it does seem like Tammy's extremely frustrated, because that's that kind of response after he's saying all of that. If I had that kind of response to my ex-husband, it was because I was usually pretty freaking mad at him. And I found the text suspicious because raccoons are normally nocturnal animals and they are not regularly out during the day. It should be noted that from interviewing neighbors of Chad Daybell, we were aware that in mid-July 2019, Garth Daybell, Chad's son, told their neighbors that Chad had shot a raccoon out of the tree on the property during the day. Those neighbors are named as Matt and Reagan Pierce. Garth told Matt Price about the raccoon in response to the question from Matt about hearing the gunshot. And Price informed me that the fire pit in the back of the Daybell property was hardly ever used until the last few months. Reagan informed me that there appeared to be frequent bonfires in the pit on the Daybell property over the last few months, and the last one she noted was soon after Tammy's death, October 19th, 2019. On June 2nd, 2020, Detective Bruce Mattingly from the Fairmont County Sheriff's Office connected Samantha Williams, who is a sister of Tammy Daybell. He asked her if she was aware of a pet cemetery on Chad and Tammy Daybell's property in Idaho. She informed him that she was aware of the pet cemetery and stated that both she and Tammy were pet people and they had both had pets in that cemetery. When asked the location of the pet cemetery on the Daybell property, she stated that it was the east end of the Red Barn near the fire pit. On June 4, 2020, I spoke to Samantha and she informed me that she was aware of the location of the pet cemetery on the Daybell property because Tammy had shown it to her. Samantha was then shown an aerial photograph of the Daybell property, and she pointed to the same area near the fire pit Alex Cox's phone pinged on September 9, 2019. The above facts established that Alex Cox appeared to be on the Daybell property on September 9, 2019 until at least 11:39. Chad sent a text to Tammy about burning debris and shooting and burying a raccoon in the pet cemetery only 14 minutes later at 11:53. The pet cemetery referenced by Chad Daybell is located in the same location as most of the pings on Alex Cox's phone in September 9, 2019. I remember in the first timeline that I did, I was like, I bet Tylee died that day she came home from Yellowstone National Park. On June 3rd, 2020, I interviewed Melanie Gibb and her boyfriend, David Warwick, in Pleasant Grove, Utah. We discussed in depth the weekend of September 22nd and 23rd, 2019, due to the fact that both Gibb and Warwick stayed with Lori in her residence in Rexburg that weekend. Gibb informed me, consistent with information she had previously given to law enforcement, that she arrived at Rexburg on September 19, 2019. Soon after she arrived, Lori Vallow informed Gibb that JJ had become a zombie and pointed out behaviors such as sitting still, claiming JJ said that he loves Satan, and increased vocabulary as evidence that JJ is now a zombie. Gibb observed JJ's behavior and felt it to be the same as she had always observed it. The time Gibb and Warwick verifiably saw JJ was the night of September 22nd, 2019. Warwick informed us it was late and that Gibb, Vallow, Warwick were going to do a podcast. Warwick said that JJ was acting up, and so Alex Cox took JJ to his apartment in the complex. When Alex returned later that night, he was carrying JJ, who appeared to be asleep, with his head on Alex's shoulder. Warwick specifically remembered this because he saw it as a tender moment. Guys, Alex could have been carrying JJ and he could have already been dead. Warwick further informed us that when he woke up in the morning, September 23rd, 2019, he asked Lori where JJ was. This was between 8 and 9 a.m. Lori informed Warwick and Gibb that JJ had been acting like a zombie and had been crawling around the kitchen cabinetry and had gotten up into the cabinetry in the space between the cabinetry and the ceiling. She informed Warwick and Gibb that JJ had been climbing on everything, that he had knocked a picture of Jesus on the refrigerator. Vallow informed Warwick and Gibb that Alex had come to take JJ. The FBI CAS team had analyzed Alex Cox's movement the morning of September 23rd, 2019 by his cell phone GPS at 9:55. Alex again on Chad Daybell's property. He was there until 10:12. The pings on the phone locate Alex near the pond on Chad's property at the northern edge of the property. On June 3rd, 2020, I asked Special Agent Ricky Wright of the FBI to analyze frequency of Alex Cox visits to Chad Daybell's property during the month of September 2019. His response was, inform me that, per request, I have checked and visited Alex on Chad's house again. There were only 4 visits by Alex during the month of September. These were on 9/6, 9/9, 9/23, 9/25. During these 2 visits on 9/6, 9/25, all the pings were in and around the house, and there were no pings anywhere in the backyard near the fire pit or pond. As you can see, these visits were also short, about 11 minutes and 17 minutes, like one on 9/23 was 17 minutes. The visits on 9/9 were long visit, approximately 2.5 hours. On June 9th, a search warrant was executed at Chad Daybell's residence and property with the assistance of the local FBI, ERT team. We located at multiple sites of interest. The sites were identified and corresponded to cellular data of Alex Cox's phone when he was on the property mentioned in paragraphs 12 and 16. Additionally, one of the possible sites correlated with the location on the property Chad had texted his wife about, mentioned in paragraphs 17 and 18. The first site of interest, located on the north side of the pond, north edge of the property, the site corresponded with 2 GPS pings from Alex Cox's phone on September 23, 2019. A patch of ground located and appeared to be disturbed. The weed growth over the top of the disturbed ground was shorter than the surrounding weeds growth. What appeared to be sod etched was also noted. The disturbed area was approximately 4 feet by 2.5 feet. Members of the FBI ERT team removed the top layer of sod. Underneath the layer of sod, there were several flat rocks. The rocks were removed and 2 pieces of the flat paneling were found. The paneling removed, investigators exposed the round object covered in black plastic. A strong odor was noted. FBI ERT member used a small sharp instrument and made a small incision in the plastic, and a layer of white plastic was observed. An incision was made into the white layer of plastic, exposing what appeared to be human remains. The crown of the head covered in light brown hair. The remaining dirt around the object was methodically removed, exposing what appeared to be a body wrapped in black plastic. The plastic appeared to be tightly wrapped around the body and secured with gray duct tape. Cheryl Anderson, Associate Professor of Anthropology in Boise State, Idaho, was present on the scene and advised the remains found near the pond appeared to be human. A second site of interest, located behind the red unattached outbuilding, located roughly in the center of the property near the fire pit. Next to the fire pit is an area used to be the pet cemetery. This site correlated to several GPS pings of Alex Cox's phone in September 9, 2019. The ground in this area was probed with several steel poles. Several areas where disturbed ground were located. During the search of this ground, a buried cat and dog remains were found. A backhoe was used to dig further into the layers of dirt. While doing this, bricks were located approximately a foot below the ground. Once these bricks were discovered, the soil was examined and appeared to be 2 bones were located. Based on the condition of the bones, Cheryl Anderson was not able to determine whether the bones were human. Methodically, the dirt in the area was searched, and several other items of interest were found, including other bones, charred tissue, charred bones. Cheryl Anderson indicated that these additional bones, both charred and uncharred, and tissue, were that of human remains. Investigators provided photos of some of the partial remains that were found at the pet cemetery, and Dr. Getz was able to identify these remains as being non-adult human remains. While officers were conducting their search, Chad Daybell was observed by officers to be continuously watching where the officers were searching. He was observed watching officers while sitting in his vehicle in his front driveway and while sitting in the vehicle across the street at his daughter's residence. Around the time the team mentioned on paragraph 32 and 33 was discovered, Chad Daybell was observed leaving his daughter's residence in a gray SUV. I and other officers pursued him in police vehicles, conducted a traffic stop, detained him due to the fact human remains were found on his property. So this shows that Chad Daybell did try to run. So this is extremely sad that the kids were found this way. Some other things that I was going to go ahead and show. Court date has changed. We can see that. The court date has moved from July 1st and 2nd. And it is now going to be August 3rd, 2020 at 10:30 a.m. through August 4th, 2020 at 9:30 a.m. So this gives them more time to get more evidence. This one here is from Brandon and Melanie's court stuff, because, you know, they're going through the whole custody thing and or attempted shot at Brandon. And this is like the list of witnesses for Brandon. And it says right here that Melanie was at the wedding with Chad and Lori in Hawaii. Where are the kids, Melanie? Like, this whole time, she knew where the kids are. There's no way she didn't know. She's a lying sack of shit. And then, who does she marry? Ian Pawlowski. And this is his court record. This shows that there's domestic violence and an order of protection. And then it was dismissed on motion of prosecutor. Actually, probably a second charge, because here it says one domestic violence violation of protection order. So this wasn't just one time. This was a second time that he had had some kind of domestic violence background. Getting a lot more information and a lot more video coverage of what actually happened that shows how Charles was failed, you know, an extremely sad situation. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I will talk to y'all later. Don't forget, spread love and positivity and smile. Peace out. Bye.